You know that heavy silence in the elevator? That moment when you feel the social script loading. So, busy day today? Your immediate reaction is not just boredom, it is a physical drain. Like someone is asking for a withdrawal of energy you simply do not have. If you have ever felt like talking for the sake of talking is a manual labor task rather than a pleasure, you are not socially defective. You are simply protecting your most scarce resource. Today, we are decoding why your brain rejects what the world calls being friendly. Psychology explains that this is not a personality flaw, it is a matter of efficiency. There is a concept called cognitive load theory. Your brain has a limited processing capacity per second, and for many, small talk acts as background noise. It requires you to execute predictable social scripts and expend energy filtering irrelevant information without offering any dopaminergic reward in return. While some feel stimulated by these exchanges, your system processes them as a high transaction cost for a very low return. The conflict arises because we live in a culture that confuses noise with connection. To you, the outside world feels like radio static. You are constantly nudged to comment on the weather, the coffee, or the traffic, a sort of mandatory social toll. But the friction is not with people themselves, it is with the barrier. You want to leap over the abyss of superficiality to get where things make sense, but the world insists you stay on the edge discussing the obvious. Here's what nobody tells you. Your aversion to the shallow is actually a high-precision filter. Because you refuse to fill the space with empty words, you end up developing a much sharper perception of what is real. Your connections might be few, but they have a density most people will never experience. Those who hate the trivial are usually masters of silent observation. You do not want to know what someone does. You are looking for the signal behind the noise. We live in the era of performative niceness. We've been taught that being likable means being available for any conversation at any time. But what they call networking is often just a collective fear of silence. It seems the world is terrified of what happens when people stop talking and start thinking. Your refusal to participate in this theater is not arrogance. It is an act of rebellion in the name of authenticity. But we must look in the mirror with honesty. There is a thin line between seeking depth and building a wall of isolation. Sometimes we label our discomfort as a search for meaning just to avoid the vulnerability of being seen. Silence can be a sanctuary for reflection, but it can also be armor against the fear of rejection. The fundamental question is, are you avoiding the conversation because it has no value, or because you fear you will not know how to build the bridge if someone invites you in? For those who operate on this frequency, life does not happen at large social events, but in quiet details. It's the comfort of being in a room with someone where the silence does not need to be fixed. It's the conversation that starts at 2 a.m. and makes you forget the outside world exists. You have built your life around these moments of real resonance, where every word spoken has weight and every silence has meaning. If you have been labeled as aloof or standoffish, it is time to reframe the narrative. It is not that you lack the ability to connect, it is that you refuse to engage in connections that lack substance. Psychology calls this stimulus over selectivity. You are not being cold, you are prioritizing quality over quantity. In a world that talks a lot but says very little, your silence is not a void, it is a boundary. You are not missing out, you are simply waiting for a conversation that is actually worth your breath. When was the last time you had a conversation that actually fed you? Or do you feel like the world is becoming exhaustingly superficial? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about something real. Behavior decoded, making human behavior make sense.